guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today we're with a very exciting video of my Kindle Unlimited recommendations in time for the KU Readathon, which is happening from the 27th to 29th of this month. I announced it with 9 other booktubers who are all romance booktubers, so check out my announcement video down below and you can check out all of our channels. It is just a readathon for reading Kindle Unlimited. Now, I believe if you don't already have Kindle Unlimited, there are some free trials going on or sales going on. I'm pretty sure you can get the first 3 months for 99 cents each month, so check that out. That's really awesome because it's actually $10 a month that all the rest of us are paying for, so check that out. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, just keep on watching. It is basically a subscription service for books, and you can take up to 10 out at a time. So I was just watching Chelsea's announcement video and she made a good point that, like, yeah, there are only less than 2 weeks until the readathon, but you get the book right away. You don't have to wait for the library, you don't have to order anything. You just click and it's on your Kindle and you can start reading. So I have a lot of recommendations. Most of them are from my favorite authors that I own physically, but they're all on KU. Pretty sure. I know for some authors, some of their books are on KU and some of them are not. So just go and check and see if they are. I will be filming a TBR separately, which has a lot of things I'm excited for, but I can't recommend because I haven't read them yet. But the first one is Gianna Darling. This is actually how I discovered Gianna's books. If you've been following me, you know how obsessed I am with the Fallen Men series, and I read book 2 first, I think, or I read book 1, I don't remember, but I only read them because I had Kindle Unlimited. So I read, I'm pretty sure I read it in order because I really wanted to get to book 2 because everyone told me I'd love book 2. So there are 3 books in the series out now. A 4th one's coming out sometime early next year. She also has 2 other series, and I've only read Enthralled. They're all in KU. They are motorcycle romances, and this one is a student teacher. This one is a older man who's MC president with a much younger girl who I believe is 18 in this book. So is the guy in this one. He's 18. And then this one is the daughter of the guy in book 2. She's a MC princess daughter, and she falls for a cop, and again, age gap. So they're amazing. You should read them. The next author I have is Candy Steiner, my absolute favorite author, and she has so many books out that you can check out. The first one's my favorite is A Love Letter to Whiskey. I really need to reread this. Very angsty, very emotional. It's very much a romance of it's never the right time for them to be together, and it's very frustrating. So if you want a frustrating read that you're gonna want to chuck across the room while reading, read this one. Another angsty one is her duet. It's What He Always Knew and What He Doesn't Know. I don't remember the order. I always forget these, but it is a woman who's married and they are having some issues, and then someone from her past comes back into town. So it's a love triangle between if she stays with her husband or goes with someone who's actually showing her that he really wants her and is fighting for her. So very, very angsty. There's also a 3rd book from the guy that she doesn't pick. Very good. If you don't want like super angst, then On the Rocks, this whole series is very good. Small town, the Becker brothers, they work in a distillery that their father pretty much co-founded, but then he passed away unexpectedly. It's Scooter Distillery. They pretty much disowned the fact that he helped out, and so they're still working in the distillery. This one's an age gap. The second one is an enemies to lovers, and the third one, which I literally just finished this morning, is a friends to lovers. And these two, the first one and the second one, are adult romances. Book 3 is actually more new adult. It's 18-year-olds. It's right after they graduate high school, and she's trying to show him why he should stick around their town because he really wants to leave because he had his heart broken, so he's determined to move to New York. And very, very adorable. If you love small town romances, you'll love this series, and I recommend checking it out. Then we have one of my favorite books of the year, but all of this author's books are on KU, I believe, and that is The Gravity of Us by Bernice C. Cherry. I love this book. It's book 4 in the series. I've only read book 1 and book 4, and I don't think any of it overlaps. I don't think any characters in this were in book 1. I could be mistaken, but I don't think so. And so book 1 I gave 3 or 4 stars, but this one total 5-star, one of my favorites of the year. The guy's a writer, and our girl helps own a flower shop with her sister, and there's a forbidden romance to them, and I can't tell you why, and I can't tell you what happens because you have to go in blind, and it'll be an amazing experience for you, but absolutely adore this book. The next one you're probably sick of hearing from all of us because if you've watched any announcement videos for this readathon, at least 3 other people have talked about this, and that is The Guy on the Right by Kate Stewart. I've read this, Chandler's read this, Chelsea and I believe Riley have it on their TBR. I read this because Chandler loved it, and it is a friends to lovers, new adult romance. It's the guy who's always like the nice guy that no girl actually like wants. It's always like, oh, is that you, like the hot guy in the middle? He's like, oh no, I'm the guy on the right. And it's very cute. He meets this girl in the beginning and they strike up a friendship, and she just literally is on the phone breaking up with someone, so she doesn't want to jump into anything, so it's their friendship, and it's so good. And book 2, I'm so excited for. The guy on the left, which is about the guy that's like the hot one in the picture, his best friend and roommate, and I'm very excited from what they built up in this book, so I can't wait to read it, and I might read it for the readathon if I can get to book 2, but book 1 was fabulous. The next author I have is Laura Thalassa. I actually have War downloaded right now, which is book 2 to this series from KU, and I still haven't finished it, but this one's Pestilence, and they are apocalyptic romances, so the world's ending and the 4 horsemen have come to end the world. So this is Pestilence, which is sickness, and he is coming through and killing everybody with his sickness, and this girl who's a firefighter draws a short straw and has to stay behind and try to kill him, and so she does, and she burns his body alive, but like, you don't think people have tried that before? He is immortal, he can't die, and so he's super mad when he wakes back up burnt to a crisp and kidnaps her. So it's their romance. It's so good, and I could not recommend this enough, especially if you like kind of like that apocalyptic kind of fantasy-ish. She also has Rhapsodic, which I absolutely loved, and I'm pretty sure that's on KU too. Don't take that like it might be. Pretty sure it is, but it's very, very good. So I know this is only a weekend readathon and you probably want to get through a lot of books, but I'm going to have 2 authors who write long books. So the first one's Ella Mays. I am obsessed with her. I discovered her this year. I read Marriage for One. I read To Hate Adam Connor and To Love Someone. I'm blanking on the name. I listened to those 2 on Audible Escape. Absolutely love them. This one I absolutely loved. It's chunky. And then I also own The Hardest Fall, which I haven't gotten to yet, but I'm really looking forward to reading this one. This one's super, super slow burn, so if you like Mariana Zapata, you should read this. It is a marriage of convenience novel. So good. And then the other series that I talked about is celebrity romances, and the main character is a writer in the first book, and in the second book, it's that girl's best friend, and they both fall in love with actors. So definitely check this author out. The other pretty chunky author I've got here is Mariana Zapata. This book is hefty, and it's over 600 pages, but some of hers are only just over 400, so you could read this. And Winnipeg is one of my favorites. It is a football romance, marriage of convenience. Culty is another favorite, which is soccer. He's the soccer coach, and she is the soccer player. And then From Look Up With Love is another one of my absolute favorites. It's ice skating. If you love the cutting edge, you will love From Lukov with Love. So those are probably my top 3 from her, and definitely recommend you read them. Lukov is the shorter of the 3, I think, so check that one out. The next one, I'm pretty sure most of my co-hosts have read this series as well, and that is the Ice Planet Barbarian series by Ruby Dixon. This is a sci-fi blue alien romance, and they're very short though, so if you want short quick reads, I think they're like 200 pages, you will fly through these. I listened to them all on audio, and they are these women who are abducted from Earth, and then they crash land on this planet, and these men have these things inside of them called quees, which resonate and they start vibrating when they see their mate, and so all these men are mating with all these women, and that's just how it is. It sounds bizarre. They're blue, they have like velvety skin, but they're so good, and such a long series, but they're so addicting, and I could not recommend it enough. Next is another author that has taken BookTube by storm, and that is LJ Shen. This is the first book in the All Saints High series, and this is a spin-off of the other series, which is Vicious, which I don't remember what that series is called. Unless this is a different one. I don't remember these series names. So I read Vicious, and I read the second book to Vicious, but I wasn't a fan of the second book of Vicious. I gave Vicious 4 stars. This one I gave 4 stars. It is An Enemies to Lovers. And then book 2, I also gave 4 stars, but I liked it better than this one, and that one's a Friends to Lovers, and they're very most of them are toxic relationships. A lot of them are bully romances, but they're just so addicting and you can't help but love them. They're all new adults, so I definitely recommend checking these out. They also have LJ Shen standalones like The Kiss Thief, Midnight Blue, and her new one, which I haven't read, but if you want to try out LJ Shen, all of her books are on Kindle Unlimited. Next is one of my favorite books, literally of all time, one of my favorite authors of all time, and that is Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. I'm pretty sure all of Penelope Douglas's books are up on KU. This one's my favorite. The girl and the guy are pen pals in school, and then they continue writing to each other, but they agree to never meet or look each other up. And then secretly the guy ends up going to her school and doesn't tell her who he is, hates who he sees, because they kind of are someone they wish they could be with each other, but not who they actually are in real life, and so they have an enemies to lovers romance. So good. It's like so not okay because they're high schoolers, but it definitely reads as new adults. They do really mean things to each other and like bully romance kind of thing happening, but it's so good. Bully by Penelope Douglas is also really good. It's YA, but definitely reads more like new adults, and the Corrupt series, the Devil's Night series, is amazing as well. Next is actually a fantasy romance. There are tons of fantasy romances on there. I've downloaded a couple and they all look really good, but this one is Faye's Captive by Lily Archer. These are very short, so I believe they're meant to be read all together as like episodes. So if you judge them individually, I am not a fan of them individually because it really is not a full fleshed out story in each book. But the first one is this girl's in college and she's obsessed with school and doing well, and she hates her roommate, and then it turns out her roommate's actually a fae, and she knocks her out and takes her and it changes her place with a changeling who looks exactly like her. So everybody has like a look-alike in like their changelings, and they like swap you with humans and stuff like that. So she's in this world, and then the fae king of the winter realm sees her, mates with her, and says, "You're my mate, I'm taking you," and so he takes her. And so I read the first two, and there's still like barely any romance, and like it ends on cliffhangers, and it's not really completely fleshed out, so I definitely have to read the other ones. So I recommend, if you read this, read the first like 4 back to back, because then you'll enjoy the story more. And if you judge it just like this is book 1, there's literally no romance in book 1. Like he is really into her and she's like kind of starting to feel feelings, but like nothing actually develops. So keep that in mind, but they're really short and fast and really fun. The next author I have is Kennedy Ryan. Now first, I would really recommend The Kingmaker, which is the book duet that she recently came out with. I have book 2 on my TBR for this round, and that is very different from this series. That one is, there's a pipeline going in, and this girl is Native American descent. She's boycotting the pipeline, and she's very young, and she ends up falling for the guy whose dad is in charge of the pipeline, and it jumps like from when she's 17 to when she's like 5 years later, and then like 10 years later. So it's very good though. Huge cliffhanger after book 1, so I can't wait to read book 2. Longshot is actually her basketball romance series, and I've read book 1 and most of book 2, and I never finished book 2, and that was really good. It was just getting really sad, so I put it down. Haven't picked it back up yet, but this one is a girl and a guy who meet, and he is a famous basketball player. He's like up and coming, and she's actually dating a different basketball player, so she can't really be with him, even though they click instantly, and it's talks about their relationship and their romance. So very emotional. Kennedy Ryan is not scared to do some very emotional things and deal with some very hard topics. So really recommend this series though. I love this one. And the last author I have to recommend to you is Max Monroe. I have read their Tapping the Billionaire series and this series and their Wildcats Tackle Love series. Max Monroe is an author duo. This one is my favorite, I think, of theirs. This is a doctor romance series, and so the first one is an OB/GYN doctor, the second one is an ER doctor, and then we have a neuro doctor, and this one is his romance with a nurse. And there's actually this reality TV series that's being filmed about each of them, and so that's what they center around, so that's part of the plot. So if you love reality TV and like Bravo shows, you are gonna love this. And I really love this one. Tapping the Billionaire series is about or Millionaire, I don't remember. They're all about really rich guys, and then the Wildcats Tackle Love series, if that's what it's even called, I don't remember, is football romances, which are very good as well. They also have some books about like falling for your best friend's sister. I have that on my Kindle as well, so recommend that as well, even though I haven't read it yet, but I've heard good things. And so Max Monroe, though, is a really fun author. I did listen to all these on audio, and the audio is great. I think I've only listened to their books on audio. I don't even know if I physically read a book of theirs, but I love them, and I would definitely recommend them. And those are my KU recommendations as of now. I know a lot of other authors are on Kindle Unlimited. If you're interested in checking out Karina Halley, her books are on there, like The Nordic King's really good, and her new one that I'm really excited for, like The Younger Man, I think. I know Riley just read that, and she really enjoyed enjoyed it, so check that out as well. That's all I have. Let me know down below your favorite KU authors or books that I should check out and possibly read for the readathon, and let me know if you're participating in the readathon. I would love to know. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.